Recently, you might have seen this video of a Christian preacher claiming that the Quran made a mistake, when he argued that according to the Quran, Christians call Jesus the Son of God, but Jews call Ezra the Son of God. He said in his argument that no Jew has ever claimed that Ezra is the Son of God. It doesn't happen now, and it didn't happen in history.
Allah claims the Jews worshipped Ezra as the Son of God, but seriously, no Jew ever did that.
And he used this argument to criticize the Quran and, of course, to invite his audience to Christianity. And when I looked through the comments, I found a lot of people cheering for him, as if his argument made sense. So I thought, you know what? I have an idea. It seems to me that if I show those people real evidence of a historical Jewish sect that actually held that belief, some of them might reconsider their beliefs. Some of them might accept Islam and finally, worship one God. Fair enough? Okay. This is the University of St. Andrews. It is the oldest university in Scotland and one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in all the English-speaking world. They said in their School of Divinity that in the Syriac text of 4 Ezra 14:48, there is a brief account of the ascent and the apotheosis of Ezra. I want you to focus with me on this word, apotheosis, because according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, it means elevation to a divine status. And you can check with ChatGPT, by the way. It will tell you that it means to make someone a god. Remember that this is not me making the claim. This is the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. They are claiming that the Syriac text says that they held Ezra as a god. I know this is enough evidence already for any sincere person, but I want you to wait because I have a surprise for you. Did you know that there was a debate among the early Christian church fathers specifically about this book, the Book of Malachi? Because if you check the word Malak in Hebrew, you will find out it means an angel. If you check it in Arabic, you will see it means an angel. And by the way, if you check it in Aramaic, you will also find out it means an angel. It is a common word in all Semitic languages. Malak means angel. Malaki means my angel. The I in the end is for me. But to be fair, it can be used depending on the context to refer to something else. Like, for example, a mother can tell her child, you are Malaki. The literal meaning is you are my angel, but within context it means you are my loved one. So what happened is, the disciples of Origen of Alexandria, I'm sure you know him, the famous church father, they held this idea that Malaki was not a human prophet. They understood the word to mean an incarnate angel or a heavenly messenger of some kind who authored the book, while other church fathers disagreed and called him just a human prophet, using the word Malaki to refer to the loved one or the messenger. Do you know who is this person that we refer to as Malaki? The person who either was a human or a heavenly messenger and they couldn't really know for sure? Yes, you guessed it. It was Ezra. Because according to the 1901 Jewish encyclopedia, Malaki is identified with Ezra. Malaki was identical with Ezra. His name is called Ezra the scribe. In the Talmud, specifically here, Malaki is the same as Ezra. There is a good ground of accepting the view that Malaki was the same as Ezra. Let's keep reading. According to the Sanhedrin 21b, Ezra was suitable giving his greatness for the Torah to be given to him had Moses not come first. And in the Apocalypse of Ezra, he was called the scribe of the Most High forever and ever. I know I didn't prove it yet. I'm going there. Bear with me. This is Professor Gordon Deen newbie. He holds a PhD in the Mediterranean Studies from Brandeis University. In his book, A Concise Encyclopedia of Islam, he wrote the following. There seem to have been some Jews in pre-Islamic Arabia who equated Ezra with Enoch and said that Enoch went to heaven, was stripped of his humanity and turned into a Metatron, and was the head of the heavenly creatures called Banu Elohim, which literally translates to the sons of Elohim, the sons of God. Again, this is Professor Gordon making the claim, not me. According to him, they believed that Ezra is the highest rank within the sons of Elohim. He was the Metatron. And for you who are not familiar with the term Metatron, let me fill you in quickly. This article, for example, says that in the Jewish Apocrypha, the early Kabbalah, and the rabbinic literature, Metatron is the name that Enoch received after his transformation into an angel, i.e. Malaki. This article also says that in the Hellenistic period, there is a mention of a second divine figure, either besides Yahweh or beneath him. It occurs in several Jewish texts, mostly apocryphal. These Jewish traditions imply a divine dualism, and they were associated with Enoch. And also this article says that, in fact, in the 8th century Baghdad, there was a Jewish movement who emerged as a response to the rabbinic Judaism. According to the article, one of their criticism of the mainstream rabbinic Judaism was that it worshipped Metatron as an archangel and a substitute for God. According to the Jewish encyclopedia itself, Metatron is the name of an angel found only in Jewish literature. This led to the belief of two powers, two divinities. Some people see a very close resemblance between this belief and the later Greek Christian idea of God the Father and God the Son who live in harmony, although the beliefs are different. Here is a document that provides rituals and prayers to invoke the archangel Metatron himself, including fasting and purification rituals. It is translated from Kabbalistic texts written in Hebrew. I will quote it only for educational purposes, not as a practice, and definitely I'm not advising you to practice it yourself or to even consider reading it. Here's a voice of my prayer in this hour, O magnificent and strong King, O Lord of the worlds, Creator of all, for I invoke and seek grace before Thy great, holy, pure, and blessed name. Don't forget that this was a prayer for Metatron, not for Elohim. Astaghfirullah. Please note that we do not endorse or perform these practices, and also note that they don't represent the current mainstream Judaism. One more thing. I want you to consider how there were several Jewish tribes who lived in Arabia during the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. Some of them accepted his message and became the early Muslims we learn from today, while others held enmity against him for years and years. The point is, none of the two groups, the group who accepted and the group who rejected, ever made any comment about this verse. Not even one word of criticism was said about the verse. And you know how well historians documented specifically the first century, right? If any of them thought that this verse was an issue, they would have considered it a great opportunity to criticize the Qur'an. They would have commented on it at least one time. And please understand that they were humans and they were as smart as the critics of today. Actually, what happened was the exact opposite. These four Jewish men came to the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. According to the narrations, they said to the Prophet, "How come you want us to follow you, while you don't even believe that Ezra is the son of God like us?" According to the narration, this is when Allah revealed this verse. The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is their statement from their mouths. They imitate the saying of those who disbelieved before them. According to Ibn Hazm in his book Al-Fasl fi al-Milal wal-Ahwa' wal-Nihal, the Jewish sect that believed Ezra to be the son of God in the Middle East were called As-Saduqiyya. And some scholars suggest that this ancient belief may have a connection to today's Yemeni Jews. Because according to this article, no Jew of Yemen gives the name of Ezra to his child. The Yemenite Jews claim that Ezra cursed them to be poor because they didn't obey his call. Of course, their beliefs are not compatible with the other Jewish sect that we call mainstream today, but they exist. Anyway, the story is as follows. After the Babylonian captivity, a prominent figure appeared among the Jews called Ezra the priest. Ezra prepared to lead a group of believers from Babylon to return to Jerusalem. But as he approached the city, he was shocked. Jerusalem was in ruins, similar to the situation that was described earlier at the time of Nehemiah. And here begins one of the biggest historical puzzles that many scholars point out in Jewish traditions. Ezra left Babylon in the 7th year of the reign of this king. 13 years later, Nehemiah left in the 20th year of the same king. So according to the biblical timeline, they departed 13 years apart. But here is the strange part. Ezra completely disappeared from the biblical narrative right after the events that are described in Ezra chapter 4. And then suddenly, he reappears during the lifetime of Nehemiah's descendants, a period linked to Jehohanan the high priest. Nehemiah himself lived during the period of Eliashib, yet Ezra is connected according to the Jewish traditions and the priestly genealogies to the era of Jehohanan, Eliashib's grandson. It's confusing, I know, but I will make it easy for you. To summarize, Ezra reappeared 3 generations later, which amounts to roughly 100 years based on the common calculation. This gap is not explained within the biblical text itself, and it remains a historical dilemma till today. It almost appears as if he time traveled 100 years. And by the way, on the other side, according to thetorah.com, nothing Moses wrote has been preserved. The website says that all of his writings were burnt with the temple, and the one who wrote the whole thing again from scratch was Ezra. See, it says here that Ezra dictated the Bible from scratch. Historical accounts indicate that there was a sect of Judaism back then who understood Ezra's ability to time travel 100 years and Ezra's ability to dictate the lost Bible from scratch as signs of divinity. And according to the accounts, they called him the Son of God. Because even if we say that rewriting the Bible from scratch is something a human can technically do, it's doubtful, but it's doable. Time traveling 100 years remains supernatural to them. According to the Scottish University of St. Andrews, the biblical chronologies are unclear, and there is textual confusion regarding where and when Ezra appeared. But the good news is, the Quran offers a solution to this 100 gap puzzle that we're dealing with. It's not that hard, read with me. Are you not aware, O Prophet, of the one who passed by a city that was in ruins? He wondered, how could Allah bring this back to life after its destruction? So Allah caused him to die for 100 years and then brought him back to life. Allah asked him, how long do you think you remained? The man replied, perhaps I remained a day sleeping or something. Allah said, no, you have remained here for 100 years, and I have made you a sign for humanity. Puzzle solved. And the Quran comments on all of those unsolved historical debates by saying, indeed, this Quran clarifies for the children of Israel most of what they differ over. Finally, I want to tell you that while I was reading the Bible, I stopped about 100 times at verses that at first glance seem to contradict each other or contradict modern science. So I did the responsible thing. I compiled all of them in 2 videos to invite Christian scholars to explain them for us. Here are the verses that seem to contradict each other, and here are the verses that seem to contradict modern science. But before you go there, I want to remind you that you can help our da'wah simply by helping this video spread. جزاكم الله خيرا and السلام عليكم.